It's amazing the things that you can learn from just talking to the people who are in a similar situation as you. In today's video, I'll be talking about the top 10 lessons that I've learned from talking to my guests on my podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Anton Wong and I make videos about the topics of video production, media marketing, and career and business development. So if any of that interests you, be sure to hit subscribe. Now, as some of you may or may not know, I have a podcast called So Far. I bring on guests from various industries and careers and professions to just talk about their experiences in the first early part of their career. These are all guests who are in the early stages of their current venture or business or what have you. And the biggest reason why I want to start this is for people who have just been starting their current venture or their current business, who are kind of early on, maybe a few months, but they've only been listening to podcasts of people who have been doing it for quite some time, for people who have been doing it for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And it's great to listen to someone with such wise, sage experience. But you can also get so much benefit from listening to someone who has just been in a similar situation as you. It's like being back in high school or college when you had someone who was just like 1 or 2 years older than you tutoring you. They know what it's like to be in your position because they've only lived it like 2 years ago. And a lot of things that I talk about are current struggles and lessons that people have learned. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about the top 10 lessons that I have learned from my first 10 guests. Now, my very first guest on my podcast was my friend Kenneth Wong. He is a drummer and EDM musician and producer. He also recently is doing quite well on TikTok. But the lesson I learned from him was avoiding negativity. Now, when he had told his parents that he wanted to pursue music when he was in high school, his parents, well, they weren't very supportive. And when he had actually gone to college for music, he had actually decided to drop out because he was starting to make more money playing gigs. And his parents were not very happy with this, so he actually had to leave home. And the big thing that he had to do was avoid negativity and get that out of his environment. So that's kind of why he moved. Now, I'm not saying you should make a drastic measure like that, and you should also not be delusional about things. But I do agree with the notion that you should get negativity out of your environment, change who you're listening to. Now, number 2 is Sylvia Chan. Sylvia Chan is an artist and a teacher and runs an art studio, but she's also a breakdancer in addition to being an artist and an entrepreneur. So the lesson I learned from her was don't be boxed in. The world is kind of whatever you want it to be. She says that it's basically like a canvas where you can paint whatever you want over it, and if you don't like that color, then you can choose a new color and paint over that. And think about it, like if Donald Glover hadn't left 30 Rock to pursue Community, we never would have gotten Troy Barnes. And if he hadn't left the show Community, we never would have gotten all the other projects that we see him do. And it's not like there's anything wrong just sticking with just one thing and focusing on that thing. But just don't let that one thing limit you. Just don't have that be your only thing that you say, this is the only thing I can ever do. Lesson number 3 comes from Naomi Ho. She is a fitness enthusiast and also my friend, which is the third lesson. Friendship is invaluable. Not only is it invaluable, but it's actually an achievement. Being able to maintain a friendship and maintain a relationship for a very long period of time is actually an accomplishment in and of itself. Now, I know she was talking about friendships, but I think this even extends to general relationships with people and connections. You may have heard the saying that goes, your net worth is your network, or the other way around. So having and maintaining relationships, valuable relationships, genuine connections with people is an actual feat of accomplishment. Number 4 comes from David Ahola of Epicator, and he says that you are not as bad as you think you are. On the podcast, he talked about how his biggest struggle was facing imposter syndrome, where you basically feel like you're not good enough, or maybe you feel like you're an imposter who is not actually as good as you are in this role that you are in. He's the CEO of a catering company, but he never learned business the traditional route, going through school or anything. So oftentimes he feels like maybe he's not cut out for this. But his business is actually quite successful, and so there's not really much of a reason for him to think that way. So just remind yourself that you're not actually as bad as you think. Of course, you don't want to be delusional again, but the fear that you're not enough, you don't want that to get you to be frozen. Now, number 5 comes from Chang, and that lesson is figure it out and think, why not? Lucas Chang runs Y2, which is a nonprofit which helps young entrepreneurs, specifically youth entrepreneurs, and youth learn about problem-based learning and figure out how to solve problems in a business mindset. When he was young, he would play hockey on the streets, but he just thought, maybe we can play hockey in the high school gym. And his friends are thinking, hey, that's so weird. Why would he let us do that? Why would the principal let us do that? But then he thought, why not? Let's figure it out. Let's ask him. Why not? In the same way, when he saw that there was a lack of resources for young and youth entrepreneurs, he decided, hey, you know what? Let's figure it out. I'm gonna try to see if I can draw up a workshop or something to give these kids resources to be able to start businesses or figure out how to solve problems in a business mindset. Lesson number 6 comes from @KG the Hustler, also known as Karn Gill, and the lesson that I learned from him was just try new things. Now, Karn Gill, or KG, is a podcaster, but he's kind of doing that on the side of his full-time job. He's getting people to think outside of their 9-to-5 job, what he calls the basic life, and his podcast is named Hustle or Stay Basic. And in his life, he has tried so many different types of ventures. He's had a sports podcast, he's had a food blog, he's had, this thing and that thing. He's just tried so many things. And it's while he was working full-time that he was just trying these things and trying to figure out what he likes. And I think that's important because not enough people know what they want to do with their life. But that's often because they haven't tried enough things. So lesson 6, trying things. I think that's very important, especially when you're younger. Lesson number 7 comes from Luki Danukarjanto, and he is a career coach. And his advice to young kids is that your parents generally want you to be happy. Now, I know it doesn't seem like it for a lot of kids with parents who are very strict, saying you have to go be a doctor or an engineer or this or that. But the reason why they often think that is because they have grown up in a time where that career, being a doctor or a lawyer, meant safe and meant that you were going to be able to provide for yourself, meant that you were going to be able to provide for your family, and that you weren't going to have to worry about food or shelter or anything like that. He also mentioned that if you really, really want to do something, then just go do that thing. I know it's going to put a strain on your relationship with your parents, but if at the end of the day, maybe you are actually successful, they might turn around and be like, hey, I actually helped him out. I actually helped my kid out by giving them a little kick in the butt by making them, reverse psychology. Because at the end of the day, they do really just want you to be safe. At least most parents. Lesson number 8 comes from Laura Connor, who is a public speaking coach. And her lesson that I learned was you just have to do it. When I asked her what are things that people can do to improve their public speaking, she says, just go out and try to speak. Find places that you can speak in front of people. And when I asked her how you can improve your LinkedIn profile and how you can better reach out to people, she said just by taking action. So often we forget to just take action on things, and I think that's very important. And I think I'll just leave it at that. Number 9 is Justin Manabat, my friend who is a filmmaker and also someone I went to college with, where we both took the same television program. And the lesson I learned from him was avoid comparison and don't compare yourself to other people. Which is very funny because I often compare myself to him because, well, we went to the same program, we went to the same school, and sometimes I'll see his client work or his personal work and I'll think, man, why can't I be that good? Or, man, that's so good. And I'm comparing myself to him. I'm comparing my career trajectory to him, even though we want different things and our styles are different. I just keep comparing myself to him, but I shouldn't do that because we are different people wanting different things and with different personalities. So not even just within filmmaking, you should avoid comparing yourself too much to other people because you are completely different people with different perspectives and different styles and personalities. Now, the final lesson that I learned comes from Michelle Terzis, who is a realtor, and I learned from her that abundance is out there. Whether it's an opportunity that you want to take, or it's money, or it's connections, there's so much opportunity out there is what she's saying. Of course, you're going to have to work hard. Of course, you're going to have to be smart with things. And of course, there's going to involve some sort of luck. But you cannot deny that there are so many opportunities, especially now, today, even especially on the internet. So it's just a great reminder that yes, sometimes it feels like kind of doom and gloom. I can't reach this goal because I don't know if there's enough for everyone. No, there's opportunities out there. You just have to go out and take it and take action. So there you have it. Those are my top 10 lessons from my first 10 guests of my podcast. If you guys want to listen to those episodes, please be sure to check out the podcast. Link is in the description, but it's also on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, on so many other platforms. So be sure to check it out, the So Far podcast. And let me know what you guys think of any of these lessons that I've learned. Do you guys agree with them? Do you disagree with them? Why not? Let me know down in the comments below. If you guys want to see another video, be sure to click right over there for some more videos from me. If you guys like this video, be sure to hit like and don't forget to subscribe. But with that out of the way, I'm glad you came to watch this video and I hope you learned something as I have too. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.